Hi, this is Self-Driving Carp, author of the AutonomousKoi bot. In this video, I'm going to introduce the OSC features of AutonomousKoi and the Rosco plugin. OSC is Open Sound Control, a mechanism to send control messages between applications over the network or on the same machine. OSC is commonly supported by software that does real-time visuals such as Magic Music Visuals or Resolume. My examples in this video will be using Magic. This video isn't a tutorial on OSC. If you want to learn more about OSC, search for tutorials on using OSC with your software of choice. Here, we see the controls for Rosco, but OSC targets are defined within AutonomousKoi itself. To find OSC targets, click AK Controls in the top left. Here, the Open Sound Control section lists the targets that we have and allows us to define new ones. To create a new target, click the plus sign next to Targets. A dialog appears to define a new target. The target name is there to serve as a reminder of what AutonomousKoi is sending messages to. Other plugins will refer to the target by this name. I'm sending messages to my streaming setup, so I'm naming this target Streaming. The address can be a name or IP address. If AutonomousKoi is running on the same machine as the program receiving the OSC messages, you can just enter localhost. I'm sending messages over the network, so I enter the other machine's IP address. The port number is set when configuring the receiving program to receive OSC messages. I set Magic to receive OSC messages on port 54321. I hit save, and the streaming target now appears in the list. I can click the pencil to edit the target or the wastebasket to delete one. Back in the Rosco controls, we see the first control section, Send Test Message. This allows you to send test OSC messages to a target and verify that things are working. The target control plays double duty here. It selects the target not only used by this control, but also by the scripts control and the script editor. If you're editing a script and aren't getting any results when you run it, check that the correct target is selected. Scripts are the really interesting part of Rosco. A script defines a list of OSC messages to be sent to a target, automating some activity. To create a new script, click the plus sign in the Scripts Control section. This opens the script editor in a new window with an empty script. The script editor is divided into two sections. On the left side is the toolbox with controls and components for building your script. The right side is the canvas where you work on your script. The canvas starts with a component representing your script. The script component has an input for the script's name and a socket for script action components. You build your script by dragging script action components from the toolbox into the socket and entering details for those actions. There are three script actions. Script action set sends a single message to set a value on the target. Address specifies which feature on the target the value represents. You configure addresses within the target software. In OSC, values have specific types like integer, floating point number, true, false, and nil. When Rosco runs a script, it performs each action one after the other, about 1 per millisecond. This is usually fast enough that it seems like each action is happening simultaneously. Script action sleep allows you to introduce a delay between actions. The delay is specified in milliseconds. 1 second is 1,000 milliseconds. Script action fade will repeatedly send messages to adjust a value smoothly over time. Great for doing simple animations. The fade occurs over the specified duration, so if you wanted the animation to take 2 seconds, you would specify 2000. When the fade begins, the action will send the from value, and then 60 times per second it will send a new value, moving slowly toward the to value. Let's build a script. In Magic Music Visuals, I want to make my logo appear on screen, stay there for 5 seconds, then disappear. We'll rename the script to Demo. In Magic, I've set the OSC address OSC logo on to control whether or not my logo is displayed. I'll drag in a set action to set the value. I set the appropriate address, and now I need the value to set. Magic uses floating point values for all OSC messages, so I drag a float32 from the toolbox into the value socket. I set the value to 1 to indicate that the logo should be turned on. Now I want the logo to just stay there. and for nothing else to happen for 5 seconds. I'll drag a sleep action into the script after the set and set the duration to 5000 for a 5-second delay. Finally, I want to hide the logo. I could drag a new set action over from the toolbox or simply right-click on the one I have and select duplicate. A copy of the set action appears disconnected from the script. I drag that into the script underneath the sleep action and adjust the value to be 0 to hide the logo. Let's hit run to try it out. In the magic window, I see no logo. The logo appears, and then 5 seconds later, the logo disappears. Great! We save our script by hitting save. The script editor window closes, and we see our demo script in the script list with 3 actions. Each script in the script list has a few associated buttons. Edit will open the script editor for that script. Delete will open a confirmation dialog to delete the script. Run will run the script, sending messages to the target selected in the Send Test Message control. Export will copy a version of the script to the clipboard that you or someone else can import using the Import button next to the plus button. Next, let's create a script that uses the fade action. Like before, we'll click the plus sign to open the script editor with an empty script. I'll name it Demo again. I want to slide my logo in from the left, have it spin once, then move out to the right. I'll drag a fade action into the script. I've set OSC logo X for the horizontal position of the logo in Magic. I'll start the fade by having the X be -3, putting it off the left side of the screen. I'll end the fade at 0, putting it in the center of the screen. I want it to come in pretty quickly, so I set the duration to a ½ second or 500 milliseconds. I wanted to pause there for a moment, so I add a sleep for 500 milliseconds. Next, the rotation. I've set OSC logo rot for the rotation in Magic, and it ranges from 0 to 1. I drag in another fade action, set the address, have it start with 0 rotation, and end at 1 full rotation. I want this to be slower than the slide in, so I give it a duration of 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds. I want it to pause again for a little longer, so I add a second sleep, this time for 2 seconds. Finally, I'll slide the logo off to the right. I duplicate the slide in fade and change the start to 0, the center of the screen, and end at 3, far off to the right of the screen. Let's run it and see the result. Great, let's save it. Other plugins can send messages to Rosco to have it run scripts on demand. Rosco also features triggers, which provide a mechanism to manually run a script against a specific target. To create a new trigger, click the plus button in the Trigger section. Provide a name for the trigger, select which target to run the script against, and choose the script to run. When you hit Save, your new trigger will appear in the list. Each trigger has a button you can click to activate it. The link at the end can also be used in tools like Stream Deck to activate the trigger by a physical button.